Welcome to Co-op Mode. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I am one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, joined by the Canadian, the man in the north that actually celebrates the holiday the same time we do, Mark Canadian Carbon.
I also think I might be further south than you.
You might be. I have to look at the longitude and latitude of the map and the globe and see where we're at.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Well, Mark, we are blessed by a returning member of the co-op team. We've got Space on the couch, and she is ready to join us. This is a hijink-free episode, and we are bringing back LemortaSavage, a.k.a. Savage. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Glad to be back. It's pretty cool.
We're glad to see you. You
no
are far south. You're melting. Your house may be melting as we speak.
Dude. Here in Texas, it's horrible. I'm super south, and it's either humid or dry, and I don't like it either way. And I can't wait till winter, but then at the same time, I don't like the cold either. So I'm lost. I lose either way.
I said I moved to Minnesota because I don't like it hot, and we had 98, 99, and we've had more 90-degree days this summer than ever before. So I'm like, and yeah, we're gonna hit negative like 25 in like 3 months. So
Yeah.
It does the job. Oh, well. We're here to talk about video games, folks, not weather. I know you love weather when Shelly brings it up, so we'll move on. Maybe there should be like a weather discussion simulator, kind of like the PC simulate making games. There should be a guy who just, does the weather, like a meteorology game. Is there money to be made?
I think I would play that. As a child, I was fascinated by the weather guy, and I'm like, I always wanted to do the weather. Storm chasing was like my number one fantasy. I wanted to go out and chase the tornadoes, but that's another subject.
Twister. Yeah. I actually my scholarship when I was going to so I had an ROTC scholarship in the Air Force, and I was supposed to go for meteorology. So I could have been a weatherman, but I chose to go elsewhere. So, but fun fact. So now you know something more about Todd that you didn't know couple of hours ago. But we're going to get into why we're here. And that is because of the awesome group of friends we have that made us the podcasting team we are today, are a group of friends we love to have that support us. And one of those friends is Famous Seumas. He is renowned for being the most famous Seumas of all time. And he posts on our Discord, and we've shared this around, but we want to continue to support this, that the fact that his parents both have cancer. Cancer is a beast, and it sucks the life out of you. It sucks the funds out of you. It sucks everything around you. But it brings out the best in a lot of people to support those who are suffering through it. So Famous Seumas has created a GoFundMe page, or there's a GoFundMe page for his parents. The good news is it's doing really well, but we want to do even better. We want to support these folks because you never know how long it's going to take, the resources needed, and just to even pay the bills, pay medical bills, pay for a meal because you can't cook. So we want to support that. There'll be a link in the podcast notes when you see this, when it comes out. So click on that link, check it out. So with that, Famous Seumas, we love you. Wish your parents the best and a quick recovery. We also want to thank our Patreon Secret Friend Squad. Our best buds, Jamie Prinky, thank you so much. BFFs, Sean, Stella, and Henry Nias, Missy Merchant, and Andy Milliken. Thank you for your support. A big shout out to Schloss Ritter, by the way. He is so involved in our Discord. A man of a million memes.
The best.
Oh my goodness. He always gets involved with everything we're doing. He even told us, Mark, today that our feed was kind of broken.
I saw that, and I was like trying to bounce in like while I was working and stuff, and I just didn't have a chance. But I love that he catches that stuff, and he's just so involved. Literally like the best.
Yes. He's a man, we don't know his real name. We'll never know, but he's just sloshing with us. Yes. And we want to say, for anyone who wants to try out a free trial of Patreon, by all means, check it out. It's a 7-day trial. You can watch everything under the sun. I just dropped my newest episode of Fansplaining, and it was a great episode with Matthew Keel, all about music. We had a blast just going back, talking about our first concerts, favorite albums, our favorite like fake band it was just a great conversation all about music. So if you like music, definitely check it out because Matt's a great guy. He's podcasts with him and he loves music. So Mark, I think I've taken care of all of our paperwork, filed everything away. I think we're ready to get into one of my favorite parts of the show. So Mark, this week, I think you approved this one.
Yep.
But you asked for clarification.
I did.
So this week's, it's biggest pet peeves in games. So Savage, you've played this game before. Don't need to explain it. Basically, you're buying the thing you like the most or tolerate the most. You're returning the thing that you hate and you're renting the thing that's so-so. You know, you go either way. So with this week with pet peeves, I picked 3 because I'm deep into Starfield, loving the game, but there are a lot of pet peeves. If you go on Twitter right now, you are hearing all about the pet peeves, but these don't necessarily are specifically to Starfield, but they are part of gaming as we know. Everybody has a pet peeve. I could have probably listed a billion of these. My son told me a million of these. So I listed no mini map. So basically, you want to get around the map, see where your points of interest are. It's not there. Where do you go? I know both of you guys are Sea of Thieves players, so having a map is essential for a pirate's life. Without that, you're just looking at the water and dolphins.
But there's no mini map.
Yeah. I mean,
no mini
yeah.
map. Well, you have a
technically
map.
there is
always on.
no
You have a
mini
map, but
map
it's not
on
like
the
a mini
corner.
always on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not like they're on the corner that shows you exactly the pinpoint. Like, let's just say you land on the island, let's say Wanderer's Refuge. It's a huge island. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do Wanderer's Refuge. I'm going to do the freaking island that I hate the most because it's huge and there's a bunch of, like, everywhere. Old Faithful. It's a horrible island. And if you don't know where you're going, you're going to get lost on the island. Again, there's no mini map. You can't tell whether it's up there, like if the X marks the spot is on your map for your treasure dig. You're just like constantly zooming in to try to see where exactly it might be, and you can't tell if it's on the top, if it's on the bottom. Yeah. So no, I understand that pet peeve. No mini map. It's irritating.
I mean, we live through GPS these days. You always want to know where you're at and where things are at on your map. Encumberment is the second one. That is essentially you got too much gear. It slows you down. You can't fast travel. And then you have to dump your gear. You don't know what's good. You want to sell stuff. You don't have somebody to pawn it off to. It's a pain in the butt, and they never know how much. Is that 3 pounds? Is that going to put me over the limit? Don't know. It's just a pain in the butt. And then no quick save / auto save, meaning you're dealing with checkpoints or you're dealing with like save slots. And this is more of an older thing, but you still find this in games. So this is essentially you think of like, oh, I'm going to fight a boss. Well, there's no auto save or quick save before that boss. So now you have to hike halfway across the planet to get back to the boss. It's just a pain in the butt. So I've described these. Now I want to hear both of your opinions. So, Savage, what are you buying? What are you renting? What are you returning?
Okay, so I'm probably gonna buy. I guess. Dang it, it's really hard.
This is tough.
Okay.
There's some good options.
Return is the one that you hate the most, right? Just to clarify.
Return is the one you hate the most, yes.
Okay. So that would be encumberment because I like, again, like dealing with Sea of Thieves, I'm a gold hoarder at heart. If I see a shiny, I pick it up. I want it. Like, I gotta have everything. So if I'm like, ooh, a new plant, I gotta pick it up. Whether it's like, let's just say Valhalla, playing Valheim or Valheim. I don't know how you pronounce it. There you go. Whatever. So that game, if I see some sort of new plant, I need it. But then I'm trying to fight like these orcs or goblins that are coming after me, and then I'm like, you picked up too much stuff. You picked up a tiny little flower, and now you can't move. You're moving slow. And I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah.
I hate that. That's the biggest pet peeve. I just want to be able to have unlimited pocket space, like a bag of never-ending space. So that one I will definitely just return. Like, I don't, nope, not encumberment. The next one, rent, would probably be, mini map. Because if you play the game often enough, you're gonna get to know like your islands. You're gonna get to know like the secret, cubby spaces or whatever. So if you play it often enough, it'll just come natural to you to where you know where you are. Same like again dealing with Sea of Thieves. I know I'm gonna say Sea of Thieves a lot. Sorry, it's a game I've been playing for
It's
5
your
years.
touch point.
Yeah. So I don't like I'll be able to navigate the seas without even actually having to look at the map down below on my deck. I know just by certain rocks where I'm at on the map. I've played it for 5 years. I've already learned it, so that one's fine. I can deal with that mini map. And then the thing I would probably buy, it would be that quick autosave because I'm the type of person that likes to save their stuff just in case. Because even the game says that it saves it, I will still go back and save it manually myself over what the game actually saved. Just I don't know why. It's just a habit, just in case type thing.
So what if I said
So
there's no save anywhere? How about that?
no save anywhere.
Yeah, correct. You can only do checkpoints, or like you have to get a save slot and it's at a specific location.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
fine. Yeah, that's I'm like it's fine. I'll stay up an extra 2 hours just to get to that save point. Because with my squirrel brain, I'm going to be distracted off, and I'm like, oh crap, I got to get to the save point before I can get off the game.
I'm not going to bed tonight, I guess.
And then
Or
and then husband's like, are you coming to bed? I'm like, okay, just after this, I get to the saving spot there.
just got to beat the boss, hon. That's what I say.
2 hours later.
Yep, and you're like, I hope this has a save rest whenever you put your console to rest. I hope it works, or
Yep.
nobody turns off the system, or swaps out and wants to play. Yeah, kind of like the old
Okay,
Nintendo
so
days, right?
Mhm.
Where you basically had no save. And it's like, oh crap, I gotta leave this thing
Yep,
running all day.
just start it all over.
Yep. Well, very
Those are
good.
mine.
I like those. I like those. Mark.
Yeah, this was this was a tough one. This was a really good, great concept, but also great options. So kudos, Todd. This is a good one. I'm gonna say I'm going to return no quick save or autosave. Like that's the worst one for me because like I just where my life is. Like there's at any point that I'm playing anything, I can be like, "Uh-oh, Finn's
I gotta
trying
go.
to jump off the staircase. I should maybe not be playing this right now." So it's like I love that's why I love the Xbox Series X so much is that I can just shut it off and it's just like suspended, saved, like unless it's an online game. Like some games don't do that and it's always like I always notice it so much. Whereas like, I've been playing Starfield and it's like I just jump right back into where I was. There's a quick save function. I can save anywhere. If I'm playing Pokemon on my Ambernick or something like that, again, I can either suspend or save it anywhere. That's great for playing old NES games, all that kind of stuff. Like that quick little suspend point is so crucial to how I enjoy games now. Not always the case. I used to and that plays into my enjoyment of some games, like the Resident Evil franchise comes to mind. Like that stress of when did I save last? Do I have enough ribbons?
Do I have
Where's
to
the
save again?
latest kind of thing? Like where's the most recent checkpoint, typewriter, whatever. Like that added to the fear of Resident Evil. So I appreciated that back in the day, but right now I don't have time for that. Like that's just where I'm at. So I'm gonna return no quick saves because no time. I need my quick saves. I need my suspend points. I'm going to rent encumberment because it's not the worst. It's not awesome. I hate that kind of thing where you're just like, I'm going to pick up this, I'm going to pick up that, especially early on, even if you're just like collecting things, but you're also like, I need to save up money because I'm just starting the game. I just need to start this, and I'm going to just pick up everything, and then I'm going to sell it back to a vendor, and everything's worth $1, but you're going to pick it up anyway. But and then, like you say, you pick up half of a butterfly's wing, and suddenly you just can't run anymore. Like, what is that? I'm
And it's the
carrying
dumbest
17
thing that you pick
swords.
up too.
Yeah, right? Here's 3 grains of salt. Sorry, barbarian, you can't run anymore.
Then you're doing like
Nuts.
weight comparisons. Well, that thing's like 5 pounds, and that thing's like 2
Yeah.
pounds, but that
But
thing
you
will probably
need
get me
this
more
one.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's always a pain in the ass.
It's the Sophie's
but
choice of like bad gaming. It's like, oh.
So
Yeah.
the way I'm playing, I've played enough games where that's driven me crazy that the way I'm playing Starfield is, I'm like, if that's not worth a ridiculous amount of money, I'm leaving it. Like, if that's not something that I think I'm immediately going to be able to sell or use, nah, this game's big enough and I'll put thousands of hours into it. I'll come back. I'll get another one. It's fine. So like at first, because I immediately had flashbacks to like Skyrim and just picking up everything and just being like, this is mine, this is mine, that's mine, this is mine. And
How far is
like,
my house away so I can stash all my crap?
So that's how I've been going in. So yeah, I'm gonna return that one and buy, I guess, no mini map, because some games you don't need it. Like Savage said, like sometimes you know the game well enough, or it's built in that that's part of the game that you shouldn't always know where you're going. I can appreciate that, right? Like I can kind of get behind the no mini map kind of thing. Especially, so does no mini map completely cut out waypoints on your screen?
Oh no, like breadcrumbs.
Yeah, or like
you
just
mark a
even just
spot
like,
and then it shows you like how to get there.
yeah, or
Yeah.
a spot of how to get there, or like, yeah, like again, I'm just gonna keep referencing Starfield. So like Savage keeps referencing Sea of Thieves. I'm gonna just keep on Starfield. So the way Starfield's been doing it is like it's directional. So the place you have to go, there'll be a blue dot just on your screen, and it's just there. So you face the right direction and you're facing forward. There's a blue dot where you have to go. If it's down a level, it's kind of close to the ground. If it's up a level, it's kind of in the sky. And if you're on the right level, it's straight ahead. There's no mini map. It's just like on the horizon. And if you line up perfectly, you can be like, it's 200 meters away. Let's go. So I like that kind of just, almost mark it on my HUD rather than have that, dinky little mini map that I have to keep looking down to. And,
Are you constantly spamming though your breadcrumbs? So the
No, that's the
scanner,
thing.
if you click the scanner in
It's just
Starfield,
always
it's
on.
giving you like actual arrows on where to go.
Oh yeah, no, I hardly press that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no, hardly press that at all. Unless I'm
I'm a
scanning.
spammer right now.
I'm like, it's like playing the Gotham games, right? Using detective mode. I almost play the game completely in detective mode. Like everything looks black and white and frame shaded.
Yeah.
Nope, gotta have it. I gotta know what I can scan. I gotta see what I can do. Same thing. I'm like always scanning in Starfield. Like, who's that dude? What you got? Oh my god, can I pick that thing up, or
What
is
is
it just
that
part of the
weird
environment?
plant looking thing?
Exactly.
Right.
I gotta scan it again. I gotta get 20%
I
more.
so far I've only been scanning like animals and like resources and stuff. I haven't really been scanning like people or things. I really have hardly pressed that button. So
Oh boy.
no, I'm just following the little dots. That's it.
We have so different play styles.
I know. Have you met me, Mr. ADD? Like,
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm like, space pirates, let's kill those. No time for scanning.
Mark's like, you're like,
pirates.
I've got to see my whole vista. I'm just absorbing everything. I can't be looking at a map in the corner. That's all I look at, the map in the corner. What's going on in the world? I don't know. I'm looking at that little 2-inch square in the corner of my screen.
No time for that. Let's go. Stuff to kill, places to explore.
I see what you're saying. I see your viewpoint. I value your opinion, Mark.
Oh, thanks, Todd. What about you? How are you feeling with your choices here?
these are rough because they all have places where I've been burned, or
Yeah.
certain games can leverage it well, to your point, like, I can do this or do that to mitigate the pain and suffering. I think where I've been burned the most, and it would be more like the save anywhere, where I've had bad saves before. And this is where I'm like returning no quick save, auto save, because I have saved, like in a Resident Evil, when I had the worst possible like status. Like I have no health potions or I have no things, and I'm like, shit, I gotta take the back out. I'm like, what am I gonna do now? Oh, okay, crap. I have to go back to an old save that's way too long because I didn't have ability to save scum or whatever you're saying. So it kind of it ends up being like also a waste of time. It drives you nuts, and it's like, oh, it's like, because time is so valuable, and I hate redoing things that I've already done that maybe I got through the skin of my teeth, and I'm like, oh, I get to do that again, but I'm actually in a worse spot than I was before again. Like you fight a bad guy where there's like a save point, but then if you reload that save point, oh, you don't get to use those items. I'm like, why? So it's another pet peeve of mine. But yeah, the no quick save, auto save, or just ability to save anywhere. Oh, I'm so glad most games do not, don't have that feature anymore. If you do, if it's part of the design element, but if it's just because they didn't put that in because they're like, we didn't want it to for no reason, then yeah, it's kind of like any of the Souls games where holy cow, there's no save anywhere. You're going to a bonfire. That's your point. It could be 350 miles away from where you're going, and you have to go back and do it again. Ugh, horrible. So that's what I'm returning. I'm going to return no minimap, because in certain games, the world is so complex, or the wayfaring in like the points. This, I think of like the first Jedi game, Mark. The map in that game was so bad. You got hung up. You're like, wait, I think I'm there. No, it's not. You're in the wrong level. But I'm like, I can't tell. And I'm looking around, just wasting my time trying to find it. And it drove me nuts. I stopped playing Darksiders. The last game they made, it was really fun. It was a great game. It had like no mini map, so I couldn't tell where I was at. So I didn't know what I explored before either. So I don't like it when, like Diablo, without a mini map, that'd be hella hard because it's such a big area, and you start revealing parts of it, and that's what's great about the mini map. So without a good one, it gets to be very frustrating, especially in a game that's so huge, and you get lost easily. And I am so like, and then I start getting distracted because of my ADD. And then I never get where I'm going. And then I've got, like in Breath of, like in Tears of the Kingdom, Mark, I've got 70 hours in Tears of the Kingdom. I get easily distracted. So I need something to keep me focused. So the mini map really helps. But I also value the fact that you should be enjoying the world, not being looking at the little 2-inch square thing in your map and not enjoying the beautiful artwork, the world it's building, and just exploring and finding something cool. So yeah, that's why I'm returning that, or renting that. Buy encumberment. I've dealt with it. It's a problem, but I can deal with it. I found there's certain ways you can get around that. Like in Starfield, you can load up your companions with crap. You can use your ship. There's little compartments. You can fill it up. So you become a hoarder on your own terms. You've got to have a support system for that, so you can have hoarding friends. See that? That's nice. Yeah, Todd, I see that. Okay. This time it's okay. So I can deal with encumberment, but it does suck because it does feel like, especially Mark, what you said, like in a game where you're like, you're not sure about the rules or what's valuable and what's not. So you're like, did I miss something that was cool? And they just make everything you can pick up. So I'm right back at Skyrim again, and it does get to feel like that. Oh man, but I can deal with it. I just have to work on myself. So there should be like an encumberment 101 or something like that. Some self-help tapes. Oh well. Well, we had a couple folks, Mark, in the group that gave us their thoughts. So you want to take the first one?
Yeah. Slosh Ritter wrote in Discord, he's going to buy no quick save or auto save. Manual save files are fine, and sometimes auto save. can hose you in a bad situation. Not as often anymore, thankfully, but yeah, definitely used to happen so many times. Now you can kind of pick and choose, if the most recent save file. I get that. I totally get that. That's a valid one. Rent, no mini map. I learned a game before that was a thing. Yeah. Heck, we really had any kind of in-game map back then, but it can be handy for keeping your bearings, especially in first-person games. Yeah, totally valid. Not every game needs a map. Like you think of a game like like a Mario game or something like that too. Like there's so many games that just straight up don't need a map. So I get the return on or the rent on that one. Good, solid choice. And then rent encumberment or return encumberment. Sorry. As fun as inventory Tetris can be, I hate leaving things behind or being slowed by extra weight. I might need that later. Items proceed to sit in inventory until after the final boss.
So true.
Solid
I
choices.
mean,
Yeah, that's it.
go back to go back to Resident Evil once again. What did Resident Evil do? It makes you not only have limited inventory, it has to fit in the it has to be like Tetris. Like, your ammo, and if it doesn't fit right, it's like, oh god. Yeah, they know how to do it though. It's for a purpose.
Yeah. That the I might need that later kind of thing, and you 100% finish a game, and you're like, oh, I guess I didn't need that rock I picked up on the opening path of the game.
That's
Whoops.
my part. My whole ADHD of having to check, like, pick up everything. I'm like,
Mhm.
what if I need this feather later? What if there's something
Yeah,
that I'm going to
the
require
very
a
important
feather
feather.
for? Is this
Always.
an
Yeah.
important feather? Is this a game-changing feather? I'm going to keep it. And I
Yeah.
put it in my bag. I won't let it go.
I'd rather die 85 times and use that a health potion I might need later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, what a waste. Okay. Edward Varnell says from the Boss Rush Network at the retro code, buy encumberment. Okay, he's very quick. Ed's just like moving
No
on.
explanations.
Rent, no quick save, auto save, and return, no mini map. Okay. So we really didn't have a quorum, but that's okay. I like it. Everybody has a different opinion. So that's why game designers can't figure anything out, because they don't know what we want.
That's it. I don't know if
We're
we know
all
what we
so
want, but
picky.
this is good. Yeah.
If they only did everything we all wanted, it would be a perfect game. My goodness.
That would never
Well,
happen.
now we're at the time we get to talk about what we've actually been playing. So this should be a very fun episode, because it's getting to be a very crazy year, and the games you're playing are probably like the best of the best. It's not like you're playing that, game you rented once because you thought it looked interesting, and you just returned it right away. So with that, Savage, what have you been playing?
Well, I've actually been still stuck on Sea of Thieves. Again,
What?
Sea of Thieves has been 5 years, going on 6 years, and still coming out with new updates and new things to do. So, like, for example, recently we have a new tall tale released, actually a couple of days ago, and basically it's this tall tale was introduced almost 2 months ago, and it's based on the classic '90s game, The Secret of Monkey Island, with Guybrush and his disorganized character, and he thinks he's like a badass. Anyways, they incorporated
Greatest
that
pirate.
game into Sea of Thieves because it's based on, pirates or whatever. Basically, he wants to become a awesome and the badass pirate, and so he travels to this island, meets this girl, falls in love. Bad guy kidnaps love of his life, and it's this whole story. So, anyways, they incorporated that into it, and so we're in the process now of releasing Guybrush from his curse that he was, you know, whenever you traveled to Sea of Thieves, he was cursed. So we got to find all these things and do all this fighting ghost pirates and
Mhm.
all this other stuff. Like, insulting pirates is a task that you have to do. So you know how, like, they have these retorts and stuff like, "Oh, no one has ever beaten me on the sea." Like, well, good thing I'm on land. You have to learn how to, like, talk crap in the game,
I
and
like it.
that one took me forever because I am not a great crap talker. Like, I cannot. I'll just I'll just kill you. That's it. I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to kill. Okay? So I
Yeah.
have to figure out, like, what do I have to say? What snide remark can I throw at you to beat this level, and that was the hardest part for me on that one. But yeah, Sea of Thieves is probably still my number one game recently. Then I got a little bit of a hook on Halo Infinite.
Oh, nice.
Halo
Ooh.
Infinite. I've always been a Halo fan ever since Halo came out, Halo Reach. And then with the Master Chief Collection that was released out, and I had all the games, and now it's Halo Infinite, and I'm stuck. I'll stream that, and I will get up to 20. The most I've gotten is 27 kills, but I die a lot still, so it's fine. I'm not the
Nice.
greatest, but you better watch out because I'll come up from behind you and I'll punch you. They get the melees
Fantastic.
where like you hit them with either the gun or your elbow. Man, there was one time where I got like 10 elbows to the face. Well, not I elbowed people to the face 10 times, and so yeah, I got a bull true and I got all sorts of little things. So if I get near you, you better knock me out before I
Go
get near you
down.
because then I'm gonna punch you and then I'm gonna knock you out. And then the last one, Starfield.
All
Recently,
right.
yep, I saw that and I was like, I gotta get that. As I'm playing it, I've played a lot of other space games, Elite Dangerous and No Man's Sky. To me, it's kind of a mixture of those both, and
Mm.
I'm just like, I wonder what's different, So I'm just in the middle of playing it. I actually just recently started it not too long ago, so I'm still kind of like learning the basics and getting all the scanning, traveling from planet to planet. I'm just like exploring right now to the point where I'm like,
Nice.
I don't even pay attention to the robot that your companion that's with
Mm-hmm.
you. He'll say something, and I'm like, wait, what did he say? Because I'm distracted at a rock, or
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, did he say something important that I have? Because I'm like looking at this rock, trying to examine the minerals, what it's made of, all that stuff, and I'm reading, and I'm like, oh, you said something, and I'm like, how do I get him to repeat his dialogue? So I get lost. So those three are the games that I'm playing, and I'm just enveloped in all those right now.
Nice.
Well,
I'm
very cool.
still.
Since we've all been playing Starfield, we want to all just talk about our experiences so far. So,
Yeah.
behind me, you can see my character, Brick McGriff. That is my character. He is a kind of buff dude. He's a Vanguard. He's got an adoring fan.
Yep.
I can't remember what his other attributes are, but the game is a lot of fun. I mean, what did you guys pick? I mean,
Oh,
because yeah, for your
see,
class or
let
whatever
me
you pick, your
let me
story.
go back because I created a channel just for Starfield in my Discord, and no one's put their stuff yet because it's brand new or whatever. I don't know how many people are playing it. I guess I'm the only nerd playing it right now, but I picked for my traits an empath, an introvert, and a neon street rat.
Ooh,
Mm. Cool.
And
introvert.
I wonder if I can send this to you so you can put it behind you because I can't. I don't know how to put the green screen. I don't have one of those
Oh,
uh,
if you
set up.
yeah, I don't think you can send pictures in Zencaster, but if you put it into Discord, I
Okay.
can then
Mhm.
toss it behind me as well through NVIDIA.
Okay.
Just it's NVIDIA broadcast. Yeah,
Let me see here.
Mark, if you I don't know if you have the ability to do the same thing. I could do the same thing too.
Let me
I
see if I can do it real
didn't
quick.
pick a thing. I'll leave mine. But I do remember. So I picked a bounty hunter. I do also have an adoring fan. I picked one of the like you grew up in the certain religion or whatever it was,
Okay.
because I read that that's the only way that you can unlock certain chests.
Oh,
Oh.
So if you pick one of those,
that's right.
um, you have access to a specific chest for that organization. If you don't pick either of the organizations, you don't get access to either chest. If you pick one over the other, you don't. You like. So I
Yeah.
lost access to the two chests that I didn't pick as my background, but I figured just randomly picking one of those factions and opening up one chest was better than none. So that's where I went. And the other one I can't remember, maybe extrovert I think or something like that. Basically anything that would I thought would give me a decent buff, and then the adoring fan I just thought was hilarious. So, but yeah, and a bounty hunter. Um, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, the adoring fan looks like our friend Luke Lore. There's been a lot of memes about it. I love that, and he's kind of goofy. Kind of sounds like he's kind of German, maybe. And he just runs into you, and he becomes part of your crew, and he brings you gifts. Just very weird, and I love it. And you're absolutely right about the different when you select, your background, your story. Um, it kind of gives you a pro and a con though, because there's certain things like,
Mhm.
oh, you get this, but there's a take from what they give you. So which is kind of fun. I thought the weirdest one was like, you have parents and they love you, but you have to
Yeah.
give them 2% of your income every month. I'm like,
I'm like, no, I like
Mhm.
money. Sorry, mom and dad, I'm not paying you.
somebody was saying there was a story about that where they actually ran into their parents at like a club in space, and your parents try to avoid you, which I thought was so hilarious. It's like, it's kind of crazy that they would do something like that, right? I mean, it was like,
Wow.
oh, yeah, mom and dad are kind of swingers. Oh, that's kind of weird. So yeah,
I didn't want to know that.
yeah, there are certain things you don't want to know about your parents. Like,
Yeah.
you know what? When they're in the room, knock. That's all I'm going to say. Uh, so with that, uh, there's a lot of different ways you can approach this. You can go straight through the mission and go through your quests, or you can just do whatever you want. Right now, I'm not following the golden path. I've become a vanguard, so I'm kind of like a space cop. And my first mission was amazing because essentially it turned into like a horror film. Like I was an alien. There was a xenomorph that had basically been attacking a colony, and I had helped them. Killed all of the people on the planet, and you had one scientist who was there who wanted to get a specimen of the creature, but she couldn't leave and help you. So it became like a stealth mission, and you can't. I tried attacking the beast once, that went horribly wrong. Like I couldn't do any damage. So they set it up so it kind of felt like an alien film where you're kind of like setting up a trap for the xenomorph. And it was crazy. I loved it. I loved how they pulled it off. I don't know if you've been offered that mission, but it's like, I think the way this game is, I don't think I can spoil anything from you except for the main story, because everybody will have, you'll go to a different planet, you'll find all those different viewpoints, and what I need to start working on is my backpack or my jetpack or whatever, um,
Mm.
because I don't want to walk like 8 million yards on a planet after I've seen kind of like, oh, there's not much here. I want some fast travel. So apparently, has anybody unlocked the jetpack so far?
I haven't.
I forgot there was one, and I looked. I'm like, oh, I've got a backpack. Oh, that's not a backpack. That's a jetpack. And
Wee.
exactly. And I sort
Spend an
and
hour
I
and a
for
half just.
exactly, just flying around and hey, just looking around. Hey, what I'm going to do? I'm going to
That
throw
would that would
things.
be me and my
All those
squirrel
rocks you
brain.
picked up. Yeah, you can throw. Yeah, it's like
How far can
sightseeing,
I
right?
go?
And beyond.
Exactly. And I heard once you start unlocking it enough that you unlock that skill. Like if you get to a certain level, you get slow motion too, which means that like in a
Ah,
combat situation, just imagine that
Ooh.
like you're going slow,
you can
picking
like
people
slow down
off.
things.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be like kind of like
So
a
like,
cyberpunk thing.
oh yeah, or
Oh,
like Max Payne,
I don't know.
when you're diving slow,
Yep.
Matrix.
The
Yeah,
VAT system in Fallout.
it's crazy.
Hmm.
I mean,
Interesting.
I love that you can do any of those things, and they really just allow you to do that. So, so far, what's your favorite part of the game?
Um. Well, again, I literally just started, so I spent forever creating my character. I was very like I went through the whole details, like made sure like the eyes were just perfect. Like, I wanted her to look similar to me. This was as best as I got it. I sent you the picture, by the way.
Yes,
Um,
I will have it up in one
so
second.
I try to make it look, as much as I could to myself. Um, I added a cool little scar because I think, I was looking at all the scars and there was one above her like right eye. I was
Mm.
like, ooh, I like that. I like the way it looks. Makes me look tough. Makes me look evil. Like, do I really want to mess with her, or
Mm.
do I not?
Yeah, definitely not. Right.
So, yeah, I barely started. Took off, and I landed on the moon, like the nearest moon to this planet that I was on. I can't remember what moon it was. Key something. Hold on. Crete.
Oh yeah.
So I'm barely like right there at that spot,
Hmm.
like right at the beginning. Because then, like, I just take too long to do everything else. I'm taking my time. I've seen
If
people
you're
on
watching the video,
Twitter.
you can see Savage's
Oh yeah,
character behind
that's my
me.
character right there.
So check out the video.
Nice.
So so yeah, I'm taking my time. I've heard like on X, Twitter, aka Twitter, people have already beaten the game in like 3 hours of after getting it. I'm just like, no, why? Enjoy the
I think
game
that's
as for
like
it is.
3 hours. I think is the current speed run record.
Yeah. So I'm
Crazy.
just like, nope, I can't. So
Has
Yeah,
a
I've
it took
only
me
Bethesda game
almost
all
spent.
like
been about just beating the main quest? I don't think the main quest has ever been the point of a Bethesda game.
Right.
I heard that focusing on the main quest kind of helps in this game. Usually in Bethesda games, and this was just one article that I saw, but usually Bethesda games, it's like you can do anything but the main quest and you're going to have a good time. But in this one specifically, I can't remember what the reasoning was behind it, but it was basically saying like follow the story, do that, and then come back and
And
explore
explore
and do
everything.
the everything
I think
else. And
that's what
you because
they
I
did
guess
tweet
you'll
it
have
out.
things unlocked. Yeah.
Yeah, they
So
did
that's
tweet it
what
out
I'm doing.
themselves.
Yeah, basically golden pathing the game so far as much as I can. Like little tiny bits of exploration, but definitely not in the same way that I used to explore like Skyrim and just be like, okay, pick a direction, let's go. And so it's not a Skyrim feel. It's not a Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom feel. I'm very much again following those little dots on my radar, following the next story beat, going to this planet, that planet, trying to see what the artifacts are, what the main story beats are, all that kind of stuff, and kind of build up my crew and everything else, and then I'll come back and explore everything. So I'm playing this really differently than I usually play these big open world games, and I don't know exactly why I'm doing it that way, but it was part of that. Part was that article or those things that I saw of like golden path it, finish the story, and then go crazy. So I'm really enjoying that though, and the character interactions and just how big it is. And I saw something like I think Alana Pierce actually manually flew to one of the planets. I think she was going to Pluto or something like that. And I don't know where her starting point was, but she like flew to the planet and it took 7 hours, and then she phased through the planet or something instead of landing on it or some ridiculous thing like that. So use those quick travel points.
Because
Apparently
Pluto
it's
doesn't exist.
not worth it. Yeah.
Pluto's
Um,
not a planet.
no, yeah. Dwarf planet. But yeah, so it's, I know people are trying to break the game and all that kind of stuff, but I'm very much just kind of enjoying hopping from planet to planet and seeing all the future realistic future tech and that side of things, that it's not all super outlandish. Like I left Mars, but I thought Mars was really interesting because they talked about, they built everything underground immediately. They built the whole colony underground. Everything was underground because you can't really deal with the Martian landscape and no atmosphere and all that kind of stuff that comes with it. So like, yeah, of course you're going to get there and build everything underground because that's the safest place there. So that kind of stuff I'm really enjoying. I'm really kind of digging just the science behind it and how well it's being thought out. Um, it's really really cool so far.
Yeah, it's definitely a game where people have said the game really starts once you finish it, but I've heard also
Mm.
then, but take your time because no one's been very clear to say what happens when you do. They haven't said like, oh, you can still go back and do all the other stuff. Sometimes when you finish a game and it's still open world, things get turned off and
Yeah.
you
Mm.
lose an ability to do things. So that's always my fear. It's like, well, if I do that, it's kind of like the game says, are you sure you want to go forward? Because it's like,
It'll take
this is where
away
the game's
certain
going to end.
things
I
to
I
complete
think
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they'd be pretty good at mentioning that, because one of the first things is, you take one of your exploration buddies out, and it basically says up front, like very, very clearly, like, if you do this, she will be part of your party. She will follow you around until you complete this mission. Are you sure you want to do this? So I'm pretty sure, like, if there's something like that in this game, I think we're going to have a good warning.
Yeah.
I think so. If you're finishing some big final thing, and it's like, hey, if you do this, you're not going to be able to go finish this, and this, and this. So I hope there's a warning like that. And it seems, even so far, like just a few hours in, I think that's going to be the case. I think they're really cognizant of, like, hey, if you do this, like, shit's locked in. Otherwise, like, choices you make are just choices. It's fine. Everything's fine.
I unfortunately made a decision at one point to bring the one woman with me rather than the
Mhm.
robot. And I really want the robot because the robot's hilarious. He's pretty high powered.
Yeah.
The woman is very smart, but she got taken out a couple times by the
Mhm.
the fauna, I guess, wildlife fauna. Um, I'm like, oh crap! You have to heal her, and you have to use one of your health potions or your health packs to save her. So
Kind of annoying.
that it was kind of like you have to give
But
it
she
away. I'm
can't.
like, I want
Yeah.
to help you, but I don't want to give away my precious health packs.
But
No,
what if
that's
I
Bring
give
your
away
asking a
own
her?
lot.
health packs.
Exactly.
You
Aren't
should
you
have brought
carrying
your own
health
health
packs?
packs.
Pick up some crap, lady. I'm picking up. I can't pick up all the crap. You pick up some crap.
Right.
Um, but it is
Encumberment.
encumberment. Exactly. I have to. I that is like the biggest thing right now. If you're on X or whatever, it's like, why did they do this? I know it's part of Skyrim and that was funny and all that fun stuff, but shouldn't there be like high tech backpacks that essentially like it's limitless in space and it weighs nothing? It uses anti gravity. I mean, science in the future should have solved encumberment. Come on, Bethesda, and it just gets that. Especially like weapons. It's like, I don't know if that's a good weapon or a bad weapon. When you look at the ground,
Mm.
there's a weapon there. It doesn't give you any stats. It just says it's a weapon or if there's ammo. And it's like, is that the right ammo? I can't tell because there's like 85 different weapons. There's 85 different ammo types. And is that the good version of the one or the bad one? I can't tell. It's not colored differently or it has like a big, this is
Mm.
a good one, Todd, get the purple. I mean, so it's kind of like Borderlands. If you've ever played Borderlands before, there are a billion weapons, and it's almost like you're always in a map or in a menu because you're like, well, which weapon do I really want? This one's kind of good, and I can't really tell, and yeah, it's not good for me. It's not good for Todd. I'm very excited about where this game is going. The the some characters are fantastic, and other characters you run into them like you see the dead eyes, and there's like a weird disconnect between the emotion of how they're talking versus what's on their face. And it's like I'm like, I
Mm.
can't tell if you're just like on a drug or something because you're coming off very flat from your appearance. And the eyes just kind of follow you around. It's very
Everyone's
weird,
on
but
space drugs.
yeah. But so far, I just think this game is really cool. I'm enjoying it. And it's definitely different than in regards to combat than Fallout because you had VATS. This one's a little bit different. It's not like Skyrim, obviously, where it's more melee focused. So I'm excited to see where this goes. And there is
Mm.
if you got the premium version or the free version, earlier version, there's an expansion for this game that I'm
Mhm.
like, we need more already.
Really?
I mean, it's probably something story focused, which is cool because they've done that before with Fallout games. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. Is this going to be a game where you guys are just like, I'm all in, I'm going to finish this game and nothing gets in the way? Or will this be a game you're going to put down when another game comes out like Mario Wonder or something else, Assassin's Creed Mark, whatever, another episode of Sea of Thieves, Monkey Island comes out. How are you guys going to balance this? Because it's a big game.
That's a good question. Um, just depending on.
Your son
Hey.
obviously has an opinion on this.
Mom. Um, yeah, the only thing that I actually would probably do is if I'm at a point in the story where it's kind of at a lull, and I'm just at the point where I'm like exploring, and something else comes out, like an update, like for example, later on this month. I want to say like on the 29th of September, Cyberpunk is going to be coming out with an
Right.
expansion on their Cyberpunk
Yeah.
2077. I've been dying. I can't wait. Of course, you know what happened with Cyberpunk when it first came out. A lot of people have their doubts, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm there. I'm ready for it. So if I'm at a lull here in Starfield and don't have anything scheduled for Sea of Thieves coming up, again, it's all about scheduling. So I'm just like, I'll play it by ear, and then if I have time, I'll drop this one for a little bit, play that one, come back. You know, I bounce around.
Starfield doesn't have Idris Elba, so there you go.
Yeah. Or Keanu. Um,
I
That's true.
I like
I'm
it, but Keanu, Eldris, I'm gonna choose Keanu.
Okay. Oh, okay. I like it.
I'm kind of similar. Yeah. I for these kind of massive Bethesda games, it's always a double-edged sword because they keep working on it, they keep iterating on it. If you played Skyrim when it first came out versus you can download it now and it's Xbox Series enhanced, it's the best it's ever been. Playing Starfield in 5 years is going to be a much better experience. Hell, playing it in probably 6 months is going to be a much better experience. That's just kind of gaming in general. I mean, we just got a patch. I think it already dropped, or it might be dropping this week for Jedi Survivor that improves performance mode, locks it in on consoles at more like a smoother kind of 60 frames per second, adds some stuff to PC. Um, so it's that's kind of gaming, but Bethesda games are even more so. So I can already imagine, just based on what Todd was saying, like being able to look at a gun and see that comparison breakout menu before you pick it up. Is this better than what I'm rocking right now? You know, I'm sure they can add those kind of things and make these quality of life improvements so the game's going to be a better experience to play it. So
Mhm.
with that kind of thing in mind, I'm going to put hundreds of hours into this game, but I'm not going to force myself not to play other things just to focus on this, because I know if I come back to this game in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, hopefully I'll be able to finish most of the main story or the main story completely or whatever, and then come back and just kind of pick and choose where I'm going to go, what I'm going to explore, all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to do that later. So that's another reason why I'm really kind of trying to golden path this as much as I can while still having fun and exploring a little bit. But that's kind of my thought is, let's get this out of the way. There's so much coming up. Mario Wonder, Assassin's Creed. There's other things that I still like. I was playing Starfield before we started recording, but I also played a couple of matches of Fortnite tonight because there was a couple of things that I wanted to do. So even immediately after release, I was still like, yeah, let's play that. I played some Battletoads Double Dragon on the Amberneck this weekend. I was
Ooh,
comparing like
Battletoads.
the the NES and the Super Nintendo versions of both of those
Mhm.
games and showing playing it with my cousin. You're kind of like passing it back and forth. Um, so there's always something that's going to distract me, but I'm not afraid of that when the game's like 5,000 hours long.
Yeah, there's always something to do, and it feels like even if you want to go off the veer off the path, Mark, and you're like, that looks fun and shiny, I'm going to do that. It's great for that. And like to your point, that was my experience with Cyberpunk.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to go back to Cyberpunk. I played a little bit first, but my PC
You
wasn't
need
capable.
to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But now I want to wait because when the DLC drops or the expansion drops, they're also doing a 2.0 of Cyberpunk where they're like, it's like going to be a whole new game. So it's like,
Mhm.
Mm.
why not wait till it's the best shape? So I did that with Witcher 3. I waited
Yeah.
probably a year or you 2 years to play that game. I loved it. All the bugs were gone. It was amazing. They tweaked it. All of the expansions were out. I'm like, there's no bad thing. And like, so I think if I don't finish it this year, I'm not going to be like, well, if I didn't finish it, I can't give it a score or can't get to a certain level of like, game of the year for me because
Mm.
I think if you get so much out of it, it can be your favorite game and you
Yeah.
you don't have to finish it. So I think that's a fair evaluation.
That's the
Mhm.
exact point I want to hit.
And with
Can I
yeah, like
call
with
this my
the
game of the year or not? and then I'm happy.
And it's a really hard choice to pick game of the year, your favorite one out of the whole entire year that came out. Again, with the Sea of Thieves, I've been playing that for 5 years, going on 6. It's been my number one game. I always find myself coming back to it again because there's always new things that are being released, new cosmetics, new challenges that other streamers have thrown out there. Like we have recently, like Nightmare Mode. I don't know if you've heard of that, but basically you have to create a whole new profile, and if you die, like you have to get rid of and create another pirate. Like it's basically like a real life. If you die, you die. So, and then same thing with Cyberpunk.
Permadeath.
When it first came out on PC, again, I couldn't play it because my PC was like crap. So then when it came out for the Xbox, finally, I was so happy. And from that time frame that it was released onto the PC versus whenever it was released on Xbox, they had fixed so many glitches and so many things that the people were complaining about, as far as like I can't finish this mission because then she gets stuck, blah blah blah. When it came to Xbox, it was fine, and I was able to play it. And I literally, while other people were like rushing through the story and all that stuff, um, I was still on my one, what do they call it, street kid? Just taking my sweet time, exploring the city, finding things, little, knickknacks here and there, and getting money as much as I could. And then when they released the information, the announcement of the new expansion that's coming out, I was like, ooh, this is going to be interesting. On top of the Netflix Cyberpunk, that the movie that they released on Netflix, it just ties into everything, and they brought the movie into the game itself whenever they brought it to Xbox, and I was
That's
like, oh,
right. They have the
that's a
expansion.
neat little thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, this is so much fun. So I'm actually looking forward to Cyberpunk too, but I can't choose like a specific game. It's hard.
It's a hard decision. So I hope everybody's excited for Starfield. It actually goes live for everybody tomorrow on Xbox Game Pass, PC Game Pass, whatever, everywhere else, Steam. I'm playing it on Steam. You guys playing it on Xbox or PC?
Yeah, Series X.
Nice,
Yep, Xbox
nice.
Series X.
And I'm happy I'm playing it on Steam because my son, because we share Game Pass, we can't play at the same time on Game Pass because they don't allow you to. So he'll play it on Game Pass either on Xbox or PC, and I can play it on Steam. Came with my CPU, so it was great. So I can play there. I just wish they had cross save between Steam and Xbox PC, but they don't yet. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm having a great time with my new PC. So it's 60 frames per second, baby. Woo! Loving it.
Nice.
Oh, well, I know it's a great time to be a overpriced PC gamer, as they would say. So, Mark, what have you got else beyond the world of stars?
Well, I mentioned my Amberman comparison, and really that's it. I did not game as much this long weekend as I hoped to, which usually happens with me anyway. But there are a couple of videos that I posted last week that if you haven't checked them out, go check them out. The first one is Outright Games. I'm an Outright Games ambassador. I've talked about their games plenty of times on this show, and I'll continue to do so as they release great family-oriented stuff. So that's like the Paw Patrol games. Paw Patrol Racing is one of Finn's favorites. But they sent a little like care package. So I got like a water bottle, a new hoodie and a hat, a little like mouse pad thing, like
Like
just
dad
just
size or
hoodies.
kid
little
size?
stuff. Not like dad size, but Finn definitely stole a bunch of stuff and was just like, I don't know where the water
How
bottle
dare
ended
he
up.
steal things for kid games?
I did put the hoodie on him, and it looked like a dress, and the arms were just hilariously long. But he did take the hat for a little while, so he enjoyed that. The other thing that I got was the 8BitDo brand new microcontroller. So if you haven't seen the video for this one, if you haven't seen any photos, it is a tiny, tiny little controller, like half the size or not even quite, a little bit bigger than, or a little smaller than like a Joy-Con. It is very
Wow.
small. It is, yeah,
Did you see my
it's
face?
tiny.
I was like,
It's do you
because
like carpal
I'm
tunnel
used to
syndrome,
like a.
kids?
I was about to say used to this, and then the way you're
Yeah,
describing it, this is like a vape, and I'm like
yeah, it's smaller than
tiny.
that. It is
Smaller than a
not for
Joy-Con.
me. It's like there's my AirPod Pro case. Like it's a little bit bigger than this. I should have grabbed it before, but it's in another room, so I'm not going to run. But it is not for me. It is for Finn, who is 3 and very interested in the games that I've been playing. He loves playing along, and I love, especially again, outright games for those kind of modes where it's auto drive, it's auto play, auto steer, all that kind of stuff. There's kid friendly modes, and I got this for him for those. So you can play basically anything on Switch that you can play with a single Joy-Con. So like things like Mario Kart, Super Mario Brothers U, all that kind of stuff will play perfectly with this controller. So we played through Super Mario Brothers U. I was Mario, he was Nabbit, and we got through the level. His first ever time playing, and it's a perfect Finn-sized controller. If you've ever played with a Joy-Con, the buttons on this, because I had to test it out myself, the buttons on this are better spaced than a Joy-Con. So if you feel really, really cramped on a Joy-Con, it's not by much. You can see it in the video that I posted. So check Instagram if you want to see that. So it's not significantly more spaced out than a Joy-Con, but like it's a little bit more comfortable for adult hands. But again, not for me. It was like $20, and I
And it's
got
got a
it for
D-pad
a
too,
3-year-old.
which makes it really
And it's
nice
a
versus
D-pad,
the
yeah,
little buttons. Yeah.
yeah. So it's a D-pad. It's but it has the both shoulder buttons. Like it literally has everything except the sticks that you would need to play a Switch game. But Finn was so happy playing Super Mario. I'm gonna go into Super Mario Maker 2 and make some stages for
great,
him.
yeah.
Just some very simple, and this is the way I started with my nephews, of just making simple stages, like one with like literally one gap that they have to jump over. You jump over the gap, you hit the end of the stage, it celebrates, and you're great. Another one with like 1 or 2 enemies, and just kind of gradually build those up. And I'm sure I still have some of those saved, but if not, I'm going to just build up some stages for Finn and just let him kind of like learn the mechanics of games and play that way. So again, it was just one of those things where it was like, this is so cheap that I have to get it, and it's perfect, like 3-year-old hand sized. I probably won't use it in any significant way myself, but it was totally worth getting just to see his face, and his unboxing is hilarious because he unboxed the thing, and yeah, it's really neat. 8BitDo makes some great stuff. It instantly, seamlessly connected to my Switch. It's really good. So great product. It's nice. And if you're looking for something that's kind of like a Joy-Con but has a better D-pad, check it out.
Mark, I recommend showing Finn or let him play some of the music levels in Super Mario Brothers that people have made. Those are so much fun, and they're like no difficulty. It's just make music, and that's a ton of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think he's going to really enjoy that game, some of that game. Obviously, not the more complex levels and stuff. But
he shouldn't
I'm
play
going to make some
Logan's
stuff
levels.
and let him play the really easy.
Logan
I made a
some
few
horrible
levels that it's. Man, my friends and I, like, we used to just make the toughest levels that it was like pixel perfect jumps, and that we just spend our lunch hours at work and stuff just making these levels, like passing the Switch back and forth and just being like, you can't make this. Yes, I can.
Exactly, because you can't post it until you beat it. So somebody had to beat it. Yeah. That's the no troll mode. Yeah,
exactly. So that's basically what I've been up to. What about yourself?
Well, just giving you a status on the game that I will probably be playing forever is Tears of the Kingdom. I have like 65 hours in this game now. I finally beat the Water Temple. Logan has been my Sherpa and also taunting me because he's like, "Hey, I didn't do that." But what he did help me do is get the Master Sword. All I will say, I won't give away how you get the Master Sword, Mark, but holy crap. Unless you know how to get the Master Sword, you ain't finding the Master Sword. And even getting it, like Logan was like, "Oh, it's usually there. Oh my God." And then And then when he did, he's like, Dad, don't screw it up, because you can screw it up once you get to the Master Sword. And that's when you want to get the Master Sword, make sure you look cool, because it's ultimately that moment where you look cool. And if you look like a doofus, like your stuff doesn't match, you look goofy, you're kind of like just like dad mode. You're like, oh, my stuff doesn't look good, but I'm fully protected. I'm totally practical dad. I'm wearing a fanny pack, and my shirt's buttoned all the way up, and I got a pocket protector. So he helped me find the Master Sword. Master Sword is really cool because in this game, you can fuse things to it. Which makes it even better. So it's like the Master Sword's awesome, and you can do this. It's very cool. So that made it fun, and just finding it was really interesting. The game has, I think, a much better story so far. Find all of the memories, though. I love how you find the memories in this game, which are the story moments. It's not like, oh, remember that picture of that tree? Find that tree, and then you'll do it. I'm like, what? No, it's like crop circles, which is just so weird, but it's so much fun. So I think I am going to golden path the rest of this, just because I want to beat this game. I could play forever because I could get distracted and try to find something else to do. So it's a lot of fun. I've got 2 temples down, 2 more to go. We'll see how it goes and when I'll actually get to play it. I don't know if I'm going to get to play anymore before the end of the year, but hopefully I do. Especially when I'm going to be Thanksgiving. I'm in Michigan visiting relatives, and then my in-laws are coming for 10 days over Christmas break. So imagine trying to find gaming time. Yeah, not bitter at all. Yep. Oh, well. And then lastly, I tried out Armored Core 6. Gamefly sent it. I tried it. This game is, if you're into just an all-on mech fighting game from software with lots of difficulty, but it's more of a straightforward game. You have weapons, you have save points, you have these big bosses. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of customizability between your mechs, and it's a lot of fun. You get like a sword, and you get all these missiles, heavy guns. You can get tank treads, and this like your jetpack. You can fly forever in the air, and it's like you have just this cool vista. It's a beautiful looking game, performs great, but I knew that this is a game that would not be for me from a difficulty perspective. It's very difficult. That's why Logan is now on a couch behind me. That's what he's playing right now. And he was showing me the second boss. I'm like, ain't no way in hell I can do it. It's almost like a one of those shoot shmups where it's like there's a billion bullet hells coming at you, and it's all the missiles. And he's like, Dad, I can't do this. I'm like, yeah, it's not for me, but it's a cool game. So if you're looking for something different, and that is like a great palate cleanser for like a Starfield, Armored Core 6, it's very cool, but definitely not for me from a difficulty perspective, but it was fun to play when I did.
Yeah, if Logan's like, I can't do this, like, who has a chance? Come on.
Is it free on Game Pass? Do you have to buy it?
No, it's a $60 game. That's why I have Gamefly. Okay. I'm like probably the only people on the planet that has Gamefly. For like $15 a month, I can get any new game. They ship it to me, play it. Yeah, so that's how I'm going to play Mortal Kombat. That's how I'm going to play a few other games, and it's so much better because I don't have to love a game. I can just try it and enjoy it. So, yeah. Oh well, that is what we've been gaming, folks. Now it's time to get into the bonus round. So the bonus round is kind of playing into, this is one of the best years in gaming, and anticipation for a game, and does it actually pay off? With so many games announced 5 years from now, 6 years from now, we know we're not getting the next like Elder Scrolls for like 10 years, but they showed a screen, Metroid Prime 4. They showed a screen. People are really anxious for that game. I remember when Breath of the Wild was coming out, people were so anxious for that game, and they were so anticipated, they didn't know what to know, and they changed that game multiple times. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. What was that going to be? People were anxious, didn't know. So some games become Tears of the Kingdom. Some games become Duke Nukem Forever or 3D. Is that the Duke Nukem one? Some games just don't pan out. So with that, I wanted to
12 years in the making.
Oh God! And they changed 85 different engines.
Just killed it like that. Nope.
Oh, I think people, babies, people were married, had babies, went to college, retired, and were buried during the making of that game. They were aged, yeah. It took 25 years off your life. But with that, my question to both of you: what game was what game had you most obsessed for every detail up to launch? It was your anticipated game, regardless if it turned out or not. What was that game?
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Yep.
Shockingly, not Sea of Thieves. Mine actually was Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Okay.
Hogwarts Legacy. The Harry Potter series in general. Um, basically came out when I was a kid, back in the 1990, what, 98, in the books itself. I read through all the books front and back multiple times, and then like several years later the movies came out, and then I was obsessed with the movies because what they brought was my imagination. What I saw in my head from reading the books, they brought it on screen. And
Mm-hmm.
then 10 years, 12 years later, they announced Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm like, that is my facial expression. Oh my god. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get enough of it. And then the way they described the world itself, it was open world concept. You can go in and explore the dark forest and the forbidden forest, and it was just like wow. When it came out, I was super excited. It did for me. It did live up to the hype because the Hogwarts house and the school of witchcraft and wizardry, what you see in the movies, what you see in your head when they describe everything is what exactly you saw
Mm.
on the game itself. And I was like just mesmerized about all the detail that they put in and everything like that. So Hogwarts Legacy was my most anticipated video game, and then all the other stuff happened. I'm not going to
Yeah.
talk about
Well,
it.
it's funny about that game because you think about all the other Harry Potter games that came before it were essentially just like, oh,
They were just like,
it's at least it's Harry Potter at least, but none
yeah,
of them
like
really nailed anything great, right?
they didn't get Quidditch, they didn't get the characters, they didn't really get the whole vibe to it. But this one,
Mm.
when it came out and it hit, everybody was like, "Whoa!" Because the Hogwarts school itself was so full of detail, and anything
Mm.
that you came up to was able to interact with, just like you would like in real life. If you've ever been to Universal Studios, anything that you had, if you bought an interactive wand over there, that's basically how the game was. You could wave your wand and something would flash, like, oh, like I gotta
Mm.
go look over here and check it out. Like it was it was just immaculate. And so I don't know. I love that game. And I still do. I'm actually shockingly, because I'm a squirrel brain. I jump from game to game and I pick it up whenever I'm in a mood or whatever. So I recently got back into Hogwarts and I'm barely finishing my first run through of the game itself. Like I have not yet completed
Nice.
the.
What?
Yes, like I'm in Hufflepuff. I started and I'm not yet done because I'm taking my sweet time and trying
Wow.
to do everything and explore everything and see everything because that's how I am. I'm just like, ooh, look at the shiny rock. Ooh, look at these cute little flowers that look like little horns. Burr, 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 burr. So
Don't
I'm
wait.
just
That's awesome.
You've got so many animals you need to breed too. It's just
yes.
going to take up half your time.
The animals
Um,
itself, I've captured a few animals, but I have not yet like gone to the point of breeding or anything like that. I'm just like, no, I'm gonna go and fight all the camps of the goblins first, and then they're like, oh well, you got to test out your broom, and I'm like racing, and then there's so much other stuff to do. I'm just like, okay. And I'm the type of person that, like, especially during with the broom races, the trials that they have, I if I don't beat it, I will do it again, and I will do it
Mm.
again, and I will do it again until I get fast enough where I can beat their time, and then I do it again one more time to see if I can beat my own time. So I take my time when playing games. I don't rush into them, and it's ridiculous because I have like 50 million games that I've started, and I don't think I'll ever finish them. I have plenty of games. Just ask my
no
husband. He's like,
shame.
no more games, no more
Mm.
games until you finish at
Don't
least one.
don't call it a pile of shame. Call it a
Yep.
collection. That way, it's
Yeah.
something you
That's it.
revere, you appreciate, but you're not
But
shamed by its
yeah.
existence.
But then I
Yeah,
still play them. Like I still
sure.
like I'll take my time to come back and play, several days of worth of, gameplay, and then I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, I feel like a Halo session now." And I'll play, 2 or 3 days of Halo and,
Mm.
go back and forth.
Mark, how many hours did Loren play of Hogwarts?
All of them. All of them. She just actually tonight finished 100% run, And I'm talking everything, 100% finished. Every collection, every potion, every animal, whatever. If there's 100% of something that you can do, she did that tonight and just finished it.
Hmm.
Maybe 2 hours ago, as of
See,
this
I'm
time.
barely finishing and getting my demiguise statues.
Mm.
What?
I
Oh my
have two more
goodness.
demiguise statues that I cannot get to. And every time
Yeah,
I
she.
get near one, she says it. Mine now, demiguise. I can't get it. Like, I'm like, why
Mhm.
can't I open the door?
Oh, my wife always loved it when I was doing the revelio. Like, really? She's heard it a billion times on the spells.
Revelio. Revelio.
Exactly. I'm doing it constantly. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm bad about that. I'm like, yeah,
Let
I
me
love
make sure
this
I don't miss
capsule.
anything.
Exactly. Yeah, I love
You
that
gotta
game. I think
find
I
the
put about 50
secrets.
hours that game.
Yeah.
So good, and it didn't even have Quidditch in it, but we're getting a Quidditch game. So, well, that's
Sure.
awesome. Yeah, having something fulfill your promise is so makes you so happy.
Yeah,
It's a
and
warm hug.
not just like my promise, but my childhood. You know, it's the
Mm.
nostalgia of it that makes it just so much better. I feel like just because growing up, growing up and watching the evolution of from book to movie to video game is pretty awesome too.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Mark, what's a game what's your most anticipated game of all time, past, present, future?
I'm gonna say probably Super Smash Brothers was one of my most hyped games. Like Super Smash Brothers. Was it Brawl? Because I know I was very anticipatory for Melee, but I think it was Brawl that they started running out the trailers with the guest appearances. Um, so I remember when like Snake, they did the trailer. It was a
Oh
character
yes,
reveal
yes,
reveal
yep,
trailer, and then it
yep.
was like the end of the trailer for the game, and then it went black for a couple of seconds, and you heard that little like bring 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 bring, and it came up just like it does in the game of like Snake. We need, and it was like, what are they doing with this? This is amazing. So it was like that level of hype, and I remember like try and back in those days, you're waiting for hours for a video to download or play. It wasn't like now where you just press it and it goes. So like my brother and I were just so obsessed with that game, and it's so lit. Like all the Smash Brothers games always live up to the hype. So that one really, really sticks out for me as far as like hype level, living up to it, just like knocking it out. Every single one of them does it. But like that one specifically, where they started bringing characters in for the first time, really from outside Nintendo franchises. Because Smash Brothers was great, Melee was amazing, but Brawl, it was just like the hype was just on another level.
I believe it. And they've done it every time they've got a new version. Now they know exactly how to play those cards, pull at the
Yeah,
heartstrings, do the banjo reveal. They're pretty
yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. What about yourself? What's living up to your hype?
This is going back, but the reason I bought a GameCube was Resident Evil 4. Uh, it was the Capcom, what was the Capcom 5, 6, whatever they called it. All those
Yeah.
Capcom games were coming to GameCube. And
Mm-hmm.
I loved Resident Evil. I didn't actually play 2 or 3 for some reason. I'm not sure why. I don't know. But when
The
I saw the
GameCube was
trailer,
such a Resident Evil machine, and you had the
it
remake
was
there first.
correct.
You
Then
had
0.
an exclusive with Zero. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
man, amazing.
It was crazy. And then we get to see what modern Resident Evil has become now because of that game. I mean, and apparently that that wasn't the first Resident Evil 4. Like they made a game that was more traditional and things like that. And then they scrapped it. Mikami, I believe, is the creator of RE4.
Mm.
And I mean, just it blew me away. Just the visuals and the control mechanisms. It kind of got rid of all the clunk, and it really made it more of um, a joy to play, not
Mm.
just a joy to enjoy the environment, but you were always struggling with the controls, the tank controls, and the limited like things we talked about, with the limited inventory, the ribbon and things like that. It just blew me away when I saw that village, when they showed that like little demo of the village people and they're like crazy and you're trying to escape. I'm like, I just could not stop. And that was the reason I bought the GameCube. It wasn't for Zelda. It wasn't for Mario. I loved all those other things, but it was Resident Evil 4. So that game, and wow, it just blew me away. And then eventually they announced, it's coming to PlayStation 2. But I didn't care. I loved it so much.
That was a while
I ate
later,
it
though,
up.
wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I think it was like a year or two later. The GameCube was dying and they needed more scap. I was like, we need some sales, so let's do this. But yeah, great game, reinvention of the series. And really, yeah, that game lived up to the hype for me. But I was worried and it didn't let me down. And that was those days where you had very little video online. I think at that point, IGN was really coming along with getting some video out there before YouTube really came about. When you would watch those, like going to work was great because if you had a high speed connection at work, like I did, I could watch cool stuff. It was great. So yeah, it was definitely Resident Evil 4 for me.
Nice.
Yeah. So now we're going to go, what games lived up to the hype? So we talked about, I guess, have we already covered that? Because you talked about Hogwarts Legacy that lived up to the hype. Yeah. Mark, you talked about Smash Brothers. I talked about, Resident Evil 4. They all did, which is great. So what's a game that didn't live up to the hype? That was kind of like you're so in, and then you see the review score, or you see the video, you're like, oh, that does not look good. Oh boy, but I'm gonna try it. But I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. So, is there a game for either of you that were like, oh boy, can we have a do-over?
Any coming to mind, Savage? So you're like racking your brain.
I know. I'm just trying to, because like typically with the games that I play, like I'll read about them first, and then I don't buy them right away. I wait till I see other people buy them and then check out the reviews. And if majority of the reviews are like, that's such a great game, then I'll buy it because I'm like, all right, somebody's already like tried it for me. They already like it. Let's see. The only game that I could think of was maybe Grand Theft. Grand Theft. It's to me, it's just like recycled content. I with Grand Theft 5 that came out and all that stuff, I'm just like, you're doing the same stuff, basically, same mission, stupid, stuff. Like I do have it just because it's there. On the case of I don't feel like playing, Dead by Daylight or anything else, and I'm just like in one of those meh moods just to do like drive crazy. Yeah, I'll pull up Grand Theft Auto. But it's just one of those other games that just didn't really do it for me. So that's probably mine.
It's funny whenever I see. I mean, I've never really gotten really deep into a Grand Theft Auto, and every time I see the trailers and all the hype for it, I'm like, I'm all in. I'm gonna get into it. And I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah.
I play a little bit, and then I back away, and it's like, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's basically how it is. Yeah. It's just like the same old recycled stuff, the same, like the stories, different characters, the missions they're okay, but in the end, like, and I don't know if it's just because the map itself, it's a decent sized map, yes, but you can't interact with a lot of things. And I think that's for me, like, because I'm more of an adventurer. I like to go things and poke and prod and look around and all that. And it's very closed off. There's only certain things that you can look at throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Mark, what about you?
For me, two come to mind. One of them is going to be very controversial, but I remember being like super hyped. And this is like the time when this happened. So like IGN was just becoming a thing. It was, I think even back in those days, it was still N64.com and then evolved into IGN64 and then just IGN. But like back in the N64.com days, my brother and I got weirdly obsessed with a game called Buck Bumble. And
oh no, the rap.
Yeah, that song is still absolute fire. Like, yes.
No.
But I remember just being like so pumped for that. Like it had to come out and it had to be the greatest effing thing ever. And I will still put that theme song on and just jam out to it.
to the bumble. Bump to the boot, to the boot, to the boot, boot, bump to the bass, to the bass, bass, bump to the boot, to the boot, to the boot, bump to the bass, to the bass, bass.
But like when you hype yourself that much up for a game that it's just like, you know, and your expectations are like, this is going to be like a Pixar B with guns and action, and it's going to be better than, you know, Mario 64. And it's just like, well, okay, but keep in mind it's Buck Bumble, like 12-year-old Mark. So, you know, like that was kind of like a WTF moment of
Mark's
like,
writing
okay,
fan fiction about Buck Bumble and all his backstory.
Yeah. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but from the story that they created about Buck Bumble, I'm pretty sure Mark can come up with some better stuff in his backstories and actually create a great game out of that. But I agree, like it was a horrible game.
You know, it was, yeah. I mean, it was what it was, right? Like, so another one for me. And again, this is going to be some hot takes. So just come at me if you want to. I'm okay with it. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Never quite clicked for me, especially not in the way that Super Mario World did, which is tied for my favorite game of all time with Super Mario Brothers. So the original Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario World, top 2 games of all time, either tied for number 1 or go back and forth between 1 and 2, but they are instant always favorites. And the crying baby mixed with controlling Yoshi mixed with just like not targeting. What I wanted, the targeting, just everything was, I got what they were trying. I got they were trying something different, but don't call it, I think it was calling it Super Mario World and then not, you know, if they just called it like, I appreciate the Yoshi games for what they are. If they just called this Yoshi's Island, great, awesome. But my hype level and expectation were set for a traditional Super Mario Brothers game in some sense of like power-ups and running through stages as Mario, like every other Mario game has kind of delivered before and after for the most part. That was one of the first ones where I was just like, I get they're trying something different here, but like, nah. And this is a follow-up to like
baby Mario.
Right. But it was even back in that day, it was still like Super Mario World was like my favorite game ever. And I remember that kind of disappointment of like, nah, this is not for me. Like
my question is why the creators decided to turn Yoshi, Mario and Luigi into babies though. Like we were kids itself. Right. Why did they try to like revert it back to like infanthood? Like we're just, I mean, don't get me wrong, the idea, maybe if it was a full-grown Mario riding a full-grown Yoshi, you know, Yoshi's a dinosaur. We all know that. Just
was Miyamoto having kids at that point? Maybe he was like, I gotta take care of these damn kids, and they keep getting dinosaurs. Somebody steal my kid, and he's crying.
So weird. I don't know. And I do appreciate that game. I like going back to play that game, but I can't, even now, I can't hold it up to the standard of Super Mario World. I have to think of it as a Yoshi game rather than a Mario game.
Yeah.
And then I can go and enjoy it. And I've played through that game a couple of times, and it's always just like, okay, cool. This is like the first Yoshi game. And then I go and play like Yoshi's Story or whatever. And it's just like, okay, now I can enjoy it. That's neat. So I do have one more before we move on to someone else. And that's an emotional roller coaster. That was the Zelda Space World 2000 demo of the super realistic Zelda game that we were kind of promised, or not even promised, but like shown as a tech demo, and everyone assumed it was a promise of like, you are getting this as a follow-up from Ocarina and Majora's Mask, and it's going to be super realistic. It's going to be pushing what the GameCube can do, which was the most powerful console at the time, and this was just going to like rock your world. And we saw this thing and it's fighting a giant spider, and it was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is real. And then we got a picture like a year or two later of Wind Waker, and it was like, excuse me, what in the Pixar loving fudge did you just do to
What
my
is that?
super realistic? But then Nintendo being Nintendo was like, shut up and just give me your money. And I was like, okay,
You're gonna
but
like
don't
it.
burn me. And
Yeah.
then freaking Wind Waker is, oh, there we go. I've
Yeah.
got a Wind Waker tattoo for a game that I was like, why are they doing this to me? Like, one of the best games ever made. But at the time, I remember just being like, Nintendo is snorting lines and
It's for
just
babies, Mark.
doing some craziness.
Yeah.
Let me see that tattoo
Just,
again.
They put babies in my Zelda game. It's Yoshi Island all over again.
yeah. Yeah, right. It was just like, what, you're ruining Zelda. Zelda's realistic. Ocarina was amazing, and then Majora's Mask was so dark and so brutal and so creepy. And now you're making a cartoon. What?
Yeah.
After showing
It's
us
like
this Space World
a
demo of a
freaking
giant spider?
180 from what they were doing already.
Yeah. But then it comes out and it's like one of the best games ever made. And it's like, okay, fine. And that's the point where I was just like, Nintendo, do what you want, man. I trust you. You got my money. It's
Yeah,
fine.
fool me once, you got me.
That
Fool
was
me
it.
twice,
That was it. They
I
just, it
believe
was
you.
just, yep. Okay. Cool. You want to make a gardening game about alien things that you throw at giant Pikmin? Let's go. 4 of them. What? Amazing franchise. Like, just
Got these weird furries on an
Nintendo's just-
island, and
yeah.
they build houses. It'll sell 32 million copies, and
Yep.
it did.
Mortgage simulator with trash pandas. Let's sign me up, Nintendo. I just okay. I trust you
Let's
now.
get another COVID in the house, and let's
so
sell
weird.
another
Yeah.
32 million copies.
So weird. But that was one of those games when you said like the anticipated games. I remember like that hype roller coaster of Space World, Wind Waker, hate, love, tragedy, amazingness, perfect gameness. Just yeah, always sticks out to me. Todd, what do you got?
Well, I have 2. One is gonna break Mark's heart, but the other one is not gonna break anybody's heart. Red Dead Redemption 2. I really enjoyed Red
Say
Dead.
that.
I really loved Undead Nightmare. And then we
Mm.
got Red Dead Redemption 2, which I know it's acclaimed, and I can't say the game is bad, but it's almost like they took all the fun out of it and said, you need to brush your horse, and then you need to, like, it's going to take you forever to look through a drawer to get stuff. It's like they went too deep. I mean, everything I saw about the game looks amazing. It looks like a Tarantino Western, and it's awesome, and oh my God, it's so beautiful. And then they open the game, like, I'm riding my horse through snow and it's taken me like 18 hours. And this is the opening. It's beautiful and all, but man, this is some indulgent, director stuff. And then I just had to give up. I'm just not finding the fun. I get the beauty and the just the attention to detail. I totally do. But for me, I just could not find the fun in the game to keep me playing. I'd rather it be a 3-hour cutscene movie and totally love it than, oh God, what am I doing next? Oh, this is going to take 15 hours to get to a place, and my horse is going to die of syphilis, and I'm going to cry. And
What was your horse doing?
I don't know. A side mission.
Listen, little lady, it gets real lonely out in the wilderness.
I got tired of looking in drawers for penicillin. I gave up. 13 hours later, couldn't find it. It wasn't on my mini map.
Yeah, that's funny.
So,
but yeah, I was gonna say that one too. Like Red Dead Redemption, like I loved part 1. Part 2, I was just like, doesn't have the same vibe. It takes forever to go anywhere, to do anything. Yeah, scenery is great. I agree with you. It was pretty. I was like, I can do a screenshot of it and use that as like a desktop background. But again, I was gonna tell you that one too. I was like, eh. And the reviews also, like, the reviews were horrible. People are like, why? And I think they just
Some
try to
people
make it
love
a little bit more. I think they try to make it a little bit more. Because you know how you said pet your horse and all that stuff. They there's a word for it, like a
Simmy.
exactly. Okay, there it
too
goes.
immersive.
Simlish. They try to make it more Simlish. I don't know, like The Sims, basically. I get
Yeah,
frustrated.
it's too deep in the details for you to
Yeah.
just really accomplish what you need to do. I mean, it's kind of like, well, what if Starfield was all about trying to wax your spaceship, but you didn't have the right wax, and you had to go find some more wax, and then it took you 13 hours to wax your ship, but then you realized you had a scratch in it, and you had to go get some buff out. That's kind of what it turned into. It's like,
Yeah.
oh God, I've fallen down so I know I piss off people. So we're gonna move on to another one. I'm just gonna piss off Mark, and that game would be Anthem. I love BioWare. I love
Yeah,
Mass
no,
Effect.
I get it.
Oh my God. I wanted to love Anthem so much. I'm like, oh my God, it's Iron Man with Mass Effect. This is going to be amazing. They always get the character development, the storytelling so well. And then adding everything they learned from Mass Effect plus these mechanics, it's going to be awesome. And then I essentially got through like the first 2 missions, and I'm like, it's like a live service game, and I don't love it. These missions feel empty, and the stuff I get, and I can't put my gear on until I go back, and it's like, oh. And I know the game improved over time. It's just I feel so bad about that team because everything I saw looked so good, and you find out that the team essentially was not told what the final game was going to be. Then EA said we got to do this, and then the leadership left, and they came in. So I feel so bad the team because I think that tech is so awesome for flying, and I want it to be used in something awesome. I know we're getting I think we're getting an Iron Man game. Are we getting an Iron Man game
Yeah,
from
I
EA?
think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Use that tech. But anybody that has like flying mechs, use that tech. But so disappointing. I was hoping it was going to be amazing. I thought it was going to take everything with Mass Effect and add like that action element, and I thought it was going to be amazing. Just did not do it for me. And I know, Mark, it helped you through a bad time in your life, and I'm
Yeah.
glad you had it. It just did nothing for me.
Yeah. No, funny enough, I was talking to someone about Anthem, like maybe a month ago, if that. And I was just like, yeah, that one kind of helped me through like a dark time, but like I can still appreciate that it wasn't good. Like I just needed like a suit of armor around me, and that game gave me that. But like aside from just being able to fly around and kind of escape what was going on in my life, like yeah, that game obviously had some glaring problems. And you mentioned Iron Man, and it just reminded me of like the Avengers too. Like that game was, it was like, oh, they're finally doing an Avengers game, and then we saw the art style and the gameplay and everything else, and it was just like, why are any of these decisions being made? Like the hype train got derailed almost before it could get chugging for the Avengers game. But Anthem, I thought had a fighting chance. But yeah, the same kind of fate, really.
Yeah.
Did you ever check
Well,
out the other game? Oh, was it not the Avengers? Guardians of the Galaxy game. That one
I
hell yeah.
was just horrible
loved
too.
that. Oh, I loved that game. It was
You
so
liked it? Okay, I
fantastic.
guess I didn't like the art style because it wasn't like
Oh, I totally get that.
the similar to the actual Marvel because of course copyright and whatnot. But I don't know. I just didn't like it.
I totally get that. That game was not for everybody. To me, it just like nailed a lot of things really well, but a lot of people
Yeah.
got hung up. And the longer you stay with that game, the more it paid off. But I totally get it. It wasn't for everybody, but I loved it. See, nobody knows how to design games because you hated it.
Everybody has their likes and dislikes.
So if devs, if you're listening to us, do what you do because you can't make us happy.
We're gonna buy it
We're doing our own
anyways.
thing. Put babies in Mario. We'll see how that goes. Babies and everything. Make a cartoon Link. Nobody cares. Yeah.
No.
Super deformed creatures. Why not? Oh well. Didn't want to end on a sad note because you know what? This year I think the hype is played out. I think most games are delivering, and we're in a great time for games. All the games we're seeing that are coming out, like Mario Wonder, I think that direct for that looks so cool and so fun. And then Spider-Man looks like it's going to be hype. I mean, I hope nothing disappoints us this year because we've had such a great year. My goodness.
Absolutely.
Oh, well. Yeah. So that is it for the show. But before we leave, Savage, tell people where they can check you out. And once again, thank you for joining us.
Oh, no problem. It's always a blast here. Where you can find me is all on social media, like Facebook and Twitter or X. I don't know what to call it anymore. the Twitter thing, the bird. Instagram is all LemortaSavage. So if you look up LemortaSavage anywhere, I'm the only one that pops up. So it's pretty cool.
Excellent. Keep doing that awesome stuff you do
Oh, will
in
do.
Sea of Thieves. And if anybody needs someone to take them through it, I just need an Uber in Sea of Thieves. That's all I need. I need somebody to drive my ship for me, take me around. I call up an Uber, take me where I'm going, then I'll go my stuff. So that's all I need.
You need a good captain.
Yeah,
That's it.
No, for real
exactly.
though. Like if you ever want to pick up Sea of Thieves, look me up because I think at this point I've probably trained, not really trained, but kind of shown the ropes and kind of gotten them all hooked up and addicted to Sea of Thieves themselves. I probably like maybe 6 people already, and each one have gotten their pirate level, pirate legend status, and we're there. They took off, and I'm like, all right, next, let's go. Come
Always
on,
looking for new
let me show
Padawans.
you. Let me show you the cool stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah. So follow Savage, learn all about Sea of Thieves, and she'll help you out. She's all there, and she has some awesome videos. So check her out, and she streams as well on Twitch. So there you go. Mark, where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere as _Canardian. I'm not over on X as much, but I still check it out. But you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, and of course, hanging out in the Secret Friends Unite Discord channel. And every once in a while, I always see what's going on. I'm so bad at Discord because I'm part of a bunch of Discords, including Savages. But I always just like pop in the channels every day and read what's going on. But I so rarely like contribute to other channels that it's just like I'm just like one of those lurkers that everyone hates, and it's just like I gotta get better at that.
See, in my channel, I don't mind those people. Like, we only have like in mine like maybe 75 people, but majority of my people are married. They have kids. They have full-time jobs. They're doing all sorts of stuff, and that's what I put in. Like, hey, we're not very active. We're there, and we know. I see you. We're good.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah, but you're good. So if you want to join a not so active Discord that has no pressure and no pressure and actually being there, just kind of like scroll through and see what's happening, then yeah, that's my Discord.
For sure.
There's a lot on Discord. Folks, find a group you like,
Mhm.
but also find niche areas where you like in the internet and just go in there for help if you need and participate and be helpful. That's all you ask. Be kind,
Sure.
rewind. Same thing in our group. We just want people to have a good time. If something sparks your interest, you have questions, we'll find somebody for you. Music, food, tech, whatever. We'll get you a right space. So myself at Toxtra on X, also on Threads, which I'm trying to do better on, and also on Instagram, trying to do better there as well, and also Secret Friends Unite. All of the Discord is the great place to find us. Our Patreon, find us there as well. Get a free trial, check it out, guys, and share with your friends. So with that, thank you, Savage. Thank you, Mark. And as always, it's always better to game together.